Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Balak. The end of this week's Sedra leaves us on a down note. The Jewish people failed by committing two of the greatest sins of the Torah. The Jewish men acted promiscuously with the Moabite women and then worshiped their false gods. The Jewish people are divinely punished and then take their revenge against the Moabites. The fascinating aspect of this episode are the different ways that our scholars understand exactly what caused the Jewish people to sin. At the end of the Sedra, we read the following psukim. While the Jewish people were staying at Shittim, the people profaned themselves by acting promiscuously with the Moabite women who invited the people to the sacrifices for their god. The people partook of them, the women, and worshipped that god. The Jewish people attached themselves to Baal Peor, that was the name of their idol, and God was incensed at the Jewish people. Rashi explained that the men's promiscuity with the Moabite women was initiated by the advice of Bilam to Balak, the Moabite king, as a way to defeat the Jewish people. The Ramban wrote that it is true that the harlotry wasn't motivated by the Moabite women. Rather, it was done on the advice of their men and leaders, who in turn had taken this advice from the elders of Midian. They conspired against the Jewish people through using promiscuity to make the Jews stray after the idol of Baal Peor. It is plausible that Bilam was involved in giving the advice about this conspiracy. After all, Bilam was considered great in counsel by the Midianites, and his intention was always to harm the Jewish people. He did everything he could to accomplish this goal, and that's why the Jewish people killed him by sword. The Ramban offered another two explanations. According to the literal interpretation of the verses, the Pshat, the Torah doesn't mention the advice of Bilam, just as the Torah doesn't mention the role played by the advice of the elders of Midian at first. If we read the text following the incident of the sin, at the time of avenging by the Jewish people of the Midianites' actions, we see that at that point the Torah mentions where this misfortune, the attack on the Jewish people, came from, by saying the incident, the promiscuous behavior of the Midianite women, did not occur because of sexual desire, which exists in the nature of both men and women from the time of their youth. Rather, it occurred as a result of the evil plan to make the Jewish people stray, and it was for this reason that Midian deserved the great vengeance that was inflicted upon it. A third explanation offered by the Ramban is that it is also plausible that according to the literal way of interpretation, according to Pshat, that Balak originally wanted to curse the Jewish people and to fight them, and not let them enter his boundary at all because he considered them an immediate threat. But when Bilam told him that he would not be able to overcome them, and informed him that the Jews would not destroy the land of his people until now, but only in the end of his days, then Balak brought out bread and wine in the plains of Moab and made overtures to them as if he loved them. For it was because of his words that the Moabites and Midianites did so. But because it was Bilam's desire to curse the Jewish people, and he was even hired by Balak for that purpose, and would have done so were it not for the righteousness of God who reversed the cursing to blessing. Therefore, the Jewish people killed him by sword, for the employer, Moab, and the employee, Bilam, were both punished for their attempts. The two approaches in the Ramban teach us an important lesson about how susceptible the Jewish people are to being drawn astray by the foreign values around them. It's an important lesson. Some Gentiles, like the Greco-Syrians of the Chanukah episode, purposely try to draw the Jewish people away from their core beliefs, while others do so less purposely. The various understandings of the Jewish people's promiscuous behavior, what brought it on with the Moabite women, and what the ultimate cause of their sin was, reflects the caution that the Jewish people must show towards the values around them. They're not our values, and we have to be careful that they don't seed into who we are. Shabbat Shalom.